Well, right now we're right across the street from the Malecone. You probably can't see it, but there's a beautiful breeze coming off the water. And, you know, we're having breakfast. I know y'all be saying I be eating a lot, but brother gotta eat.
And, you know, one of the things that I think that I most enjoy, along with having an opportunity to be able to support and to be able to help the people, is the authentic nature of the culture and the community. And unlike many other nations that we travel to, it is not overly Americanized.
Yeah, and I think that's in part because people don't know if they can travel here, how to travel here, and it's not so much, I guess, exposure is not great here. And I like that about this place because, and trust me, I don't want to be a part of what ruins that. People kind of blame me for the influx of Black Americans over in Colombia, and I just think it's part of my job to adventure and share my adventures.
I think it's applaudable what you're doing to expose people to different parts of the world and opportunities to be able to travel. I just think, and I'm saying this just from my perspective, I just think that as a community, we need to, when visiting places, try to take in their culture versus trying to self-impose ours. Otherwise, if you're going to be visiting these different countries and nations throughout the world, figure out how to be able to see what it is that they have versus trying to make your experience in their country. Right. Instead, try to take their experience while you're there, so that it can be something that's different and enriching.
Now we're having a good conversation.
I was waiting for you to say something so I can interrupt you. Just so
Okay.
Nah, I'm saying it's important that we highlight the dreams, the hopes, and the aspirations of the people in order that we can provide different ways to be able to support the people. Right? We're not trying to get engulfed inside the local political, you know what I'm saying, base issues, even though we understand that the political issues have implications on people's dreams, hopes, and aspirations. Right? The question is about how best can we serve as a vehicle to be able to be helpful.
So you want them to focus on the solutions, share the solutions, the possibilities of solutions, so that we can aid now, because you don't want to fight it. If we get focused on the political things, we might get boxed out. And then we can't help.
Then we can't be able to help. And so we'll see different levels because of communities that we're going to go into, because we're not in the quote unquote where the tourist areas, you know what I'm saying, go, right? Because touring is illegal, but like we're actually going deep inside the different communities. And within that,
making donations in those communities.
And making donations in those communities. And within that, we're going to see greater levels of poverty. Those are just facts. And I think it'll show itself on the screen without having to necessarily have to, you know what I'm saying, focus and denote on it. People will be able to see it.
It's definitely, clearly evident.
Right. And so, and I think also that people who are here in Cuba who've not had many people, I should say, not obviously all, who've not had the experience of being outside of Cuba, sometimes have a monolithic lens for how they examine and understand what their issues are, and don't necessarily fully understand the global connection and forces of what impacts their particular situation.
That's really no fault of their own.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's fault, but I think it takes sometimes the, you know what I'm saying, the views and perspective. What things are actually issues that are caused by the government, and the government's lack of, let's say, being judicious and efficient with their financial resources to better the community, and what are factors that are outside of the government that are external forces that are attempting to negatively impact Cuba that has implications on, you know what I'm saying, the people. And trying to determine where that point begins and where that point ends, right? Or where they intermerge together is a part of the nuance that sometimes that is not as understood in different conversations when they're being held.
I think that's a common thread. Most societies do not have a conflict with their governance. Anywhere you go, people are always, one side is always unhappy and another side that is getting what they want and what they need or for it. You know what I'm saying? And you can go probably anywhere in the world. I mean, most places I go, the people are very unhappy with their governance. They're unhappy. They're unhappy. You know, they got some griefs and beefs, and you know, rightfully so, because there's no one shoe that fits all.
Do that.
And no matter where you go, there's the takers. You know what I'm saying?
That's real. That's real.
And sometimes, you know, we get drunk off of power. You know what I mean? I think it's just a human flaw. You know what I mean?
So a part of the challenge that we're seeing is clearly there is a upward move in Cuba to build a more modern, complex society based upon tourism that's resulting in the expansion of an extraordinary amount of hotels. And we're talking about 5-star hotels are popping up everywhere, all throughout the landscape.
And the thing is, when I look around Cuba, I still see the beauty, but even in its, let's say, dilapidated state that it's in. And I could just imagine how beautiful it was because the architecture, the landscape, you know, it's sad that I can't, these drones are illegal because the views that we have from up top is just so beautiful. You know, I would love to fly my drone, but I can't. But it just, so when the money and the development comes back here, this is going to rival a lot of places. You know what I mean? Like, and this is all part of the Caribbean islands. You know what I mean? And this is one of the flyer spots, Caribbean islands.
I think when we do our different efforts, both separate and together, right? You know, the foundation's mission is really about education, health, community revitalization, trying to figure different ways to do uplift. And that's what the Diaspora Education Foundation is focused on. What you're doing is exposing people to, you know what I'm saying, through tourism, and you know what I'm saying, your travel opens up people to a different level of the world.
A visual understanding, a boots on the ground view, although it's still through my narrow lens, I think it's still enough to give people courage and hope to travel. To see for themselves, to find something of interest in that video that will, you know, motivate them, inspire them, you know, because I see comments that say, one day I wish to go there, or my family's from there, one day I wish to go back. Thank you for showing my country. You know, that's the kind of comments that I get sometimes, because I'm sure like there's something special about you seeing a video from your country that you might not have been back to in 10, 20, 30 years. You know, so when people commenting on the boxing, commenting on the results, on the effects that possibly are sharing, I'm willing. Do you have ketchup? I'm willing to change what I'm doing a little bit in order to thank you.
So if you don't mind, if I can make a special request to all the viewers of the wonderful channel that International Zoe had, is that I've been seeing effort for him to diversify some of the content, to do a variety, you know what I'm saying, different things. It's very important important, if you like that type of content along with some of the traditional things that he also does, that you also make sure that you
what just happened with this
that you also make sure that you click and put thumbs up. What is it? Is it click, place comments? That you make sure that you make those videos also very popular, so that there is
balance
and interest in those things, and then that will then allow International Zoe to be able to have more content like that. I mean, he'll still do the other content that you like, but what it'll do is that it'll broaden your awareness, your knowledge, your experiences before you visit the countries, as well as give you better understanding of things to be able to do. I think it's a win-win on both sides.
Through the old Havana, and that could be anywhere, you know. I'm going to show, of course I like to have fun, and I'm going to show myself having fun, but if you look deep in the layers, you know, I'm always showing, I guess, what else there is to do in these countries. You know, granted, maybe if I've been there a few times, I'm not going to go and do all those things over and over again, but I'm always exploring when I'm there. I'm never like just doing one thing, unless I've been there a bunch of times and I'm just, everybody knows I like to be on the beach with a nice drink and a beautiful woman.
But there's certain elements of our travel, we're like Phil Sunger and Oscar Madison in the Yacht Couple. But we have been able to make a synergy together and being able to get things done and find the common ground, which is important, and what we need to be able to show people as well, is that we don't have to be in uniformity to have unity. That we can have different interests, different things that motivate us, but also find a way to work collaboratively together in order to be able to bring about positive energy and positive change.
We have different strengths, and when we use our positive strengths, it just betters the mission. It's, you know, like they say, iron sharpens iron.
100%. You know, as we were pointing out, there is a economic boom of building that's going on everywhere. Everywhere you look around the landscape, you see new buildings and structures that are coming up. The question is whether or not does the monies that are derived from that, does it reach the community? And does it improve the quality of life?
You know, it usually doesn't.
I know, but that's the challenge.
It's usually big business. I would like to know if someone can answer the question, as a foreigner here, how can you become, is it possible to become a citizen? Is it possible to get something similar to a cedula? Is it possible to own a business or own land here in Cuba?
Well, not right now because of the embargo, right? The embargo explicitly prohibits the ability. Señor, un momento. Yo quiero un jugo de papaya, por favor.
Say it's
Me, un papaya y piña. Dos en uno. Now, I'm saying part of that is the embargo. And the embargo is a failed policy that disproportionately focuses on Cuba. But the issues for which they say that they have issues with Cuba, they don't have those same issues with other countries. For example, I would say that is that the question over the reason for the embargo is to say because of the feeling that the lack of democratic principles that exist in Cuba. Perspective, right? But the United States doesn't have that same view as it relates towards doing business in relationships with Saudi Arabia, which is a monarchy, right? Obviously, we don't have that view as it relates towards with China and doing business with China. And so it's a selective view in enforcement, right? I think if you believe in a free market enterprise, if you believe in capitalism, which in many ways I do, then the best way to put Cuba to the test is to allow for them to participate inside the global markets and let them sink and swim just like anybody else. But right now we weigh the scales down as a country on them,
But
to make it harder for them.
we know that it's so much deeper than the obvious solutions, the obvious questions that we ask. We know the problem of the issue is much deeper.
Right.
Maybe to a point where we don't understand, maybe to a point where all that's, on the surface is not even not even the issue at all. What they claim or say or publicize as the issue, it's really not the issue. The issue could be so much deeper from someone else's problem that people are just carrying on, and it's above our pay grade.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
That there's deeper geopolitical, economic issues, concerns, as well as vestiges of history of concern and conflicts that influences the current political landscape.
It could be somebody else's beef or lost from once it began, and they probably put it in like, this is going to stay like this forever if we can help it.
No doubt.
And I think it goes far beyond the leader of the free world when it comes to talking about America.
Right. No, this is economic. This is oligarchies of power and influence, dealing with money.
That's what
and everything else.
That's
this
what
is
I'm
big.
That's
it's
what I'm
a big
leading
business, big wealth.
Yeah.
That's influencing these policies, but it's having implications on the people in a very negative way.
And it could also be spite.
Right.
To simplify it, it could be spite.
You can't deny, to me it's the contradiction of, you can't deny the opportunities and then say, look, they don't have the opportunities, right? You can't deny the medical, like a lot of the reason that you have so many of those long lines that we see as it relates towards the ability to be able to bring in different levels of food and products is because of the embargo. And so you can't say, hey, look at their long lines that they have, and then implement policies that create and expand on those long lines. At least to me, that's the contradiction.
Some countries are on the outs, and they're going to be on the outs. I would think maybe the position is not the same, but the similarities to Haiti. They deliberately walked out of growth as a country and what they have to offer, and they're like, no, you can't do business with them because we said so, and we got our reasons. That's that. And if you're in bed with us, it is what it is.
It is what it is. And so that's why our focus and attention as a foundation, as well as teaming up with Barber World TV to do some of the various things that we're doing, is really just about the people, right? We don't really get engulfed in conversations, you know what I'm saying, about politics. We just really deal with how can we improve the opportunities for the people, how can we provide resources to support the people, to allow for them to achieve their own specific aspirations and their own specific goals.
And although the people, I believe, are well versed in the relationship with Cuba and the Americans, I haven't seen them at all take it out on an American business.
Right.
We have received nothing but love and respect, welcome here, so.
And people constantly asking us, by the way, we are technically one of the few people here on the entire island, percentage-wise, right now, that we are not coming across a lot of other people from the United States at all.
Yeah, I can't say. One guy we did meet, he was from Bahamas.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
I'm just saying, like,
versus other time frames you may have come to visit, there were more people. Like, we're on a very low number of people that were coming across.
This is my third visit in. I I didn't meet an American my first or second visit.
Didn't meet?
I didn't run into another American like I usually do almost anywhere I go. Not to say that they weren't here, but there's so few that we didn't cross paths.
Yeah. And so
Havana in general is not that big.
So Havana is like 1.2 million people, right? The island's about 11.2 million as a whole. This will be the 11.2 million. Pardon me. This is the Havana. See, it's 11.2. This is about 2.1. There's about 2.1 million people in Havana,
Right.
And then the next largest city, which is Santiago, is like 1 million. You know what I'm saying? People. So this is a nice size city.
When I say small, I mean this part of Havana, where you would find visitors.
Right.
There's 2 million people here, but you're not going to see a foreigner on the outskirts of this.
Right.
You're going to see them around this small area that we've been circling our whole visit here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for the most part.
Find them, right? You know, if they're outside of this area, then they have family. Probably.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
this part of it is whole. You know, it's like comparing it to, let's say, going to Cartagena or something. You know, there's just a triangle of places that you would visit here as a foreigner. You're gonna, you know, there's only so much things you're gonna do right here that you would. Now we've bumped into other foreigners,
right,
but not other Americans.
True that.
I think you quickly, like the brother from Bahamas, I thought possibly he was American. I looked the way he was dressed. I looked at the way he was groomed, you know, and he looked like he wasn't from here.
right.
And so I just assumed possibly he's from America, but he was from Bahamas.
And so I would point out the fact that there really is a positive energy, that people have been extremely very, you know what I'm saying, friendly, want to know where you're from, you know what I'm saying, things like that. And you know what also I like, having traveled to countless countries around the world, there's not that constant grabbing on you, to, you know what I'm saying, to ask you, you know what I'm saying, for something, the way they're in certain other countries.
Loitering.
Yeah. It's not that constant, Not every where you're from is followed up with buy this. And I've liked that a lot. I like that a lot. And so today, we're gonna be visiting another one of the Afro-Cuban communities. And setting the stage in preparation of then doing something else inside the community later on during the week. And so actually, instead of just trying to do an event right away, instead actually going to the community, being able to, you know, make some observations of some of the things that are there, and then based upon that, then we will then superimpose the event on top of that. Which may be like, we still have extra soccer balls, we still have extra uniforms, we might have some team games, you know what I'm saying, for the kids. We'll just have a variety of different ways of having activities that will help, particularly the kids, have a good time. And so that's part of what we're going to do.
Okay, we've been long-winded, thanks to James. We're going to wrap it up now.
Espero que tenga buen día. I hope you have a good day. Coming at you live, Havana, Cuba.
I keep telling him we are not live. So
My bad.
I'm saying that. He watched too much TV. But it's all right. Subscribe, snitches.